Hello and welcome to Ragnar's Forge. In this video we're going to look at the imbuing, reforging, refinements and enhancement systems. These are all crafting systems that have been added on with various game add-ons over the years, and they sort of add on and enhance the crafting system further, so that you can really tailor make some pieces of gear for specific characters, specific builds. Just gives you a lot of freedom in what you can do in terms of crafting. I'm going to break this down into sections, and we're going to start off with imbuing. So what is imbuing? Imbuing was added during the Midane's Legacy, I think. Oh well, the add-on that added the gargoyles. The imbuing system can be used to add properties to a piece of armour without having to go through the reforging system. Now historically, the way this will work is, if you wanted to make a 100% LRC suit, for example, you would have to get yourself some runic tools, and you would just craft pieces of armour from those tools until you got the pieces that you wanted. The imbuing system allows us to dictate what properties go on the piece of armor, weapon, shield, whatever. We can dictate what goes on there to an extent. We're not going to be able to make things as powerful as what you would find on a artifact or an artifact piece of equipment, but we are going to be able to dictate them to an extent. Imbuing allows us also, we can use any material with imbuing. So we can use barbed, horn-spined or regular leather, all of the ingots, all of the types of wood. The type of material doesn't matter. When it comes to reforging, that's slightly different, and we'll cover that when we go into that section. But for now, let's just have a look at imbuing. We've got some barbed leather here, so let's just make a barbed leather tunic. And this will let us see all the different types of imbuing that we can do with barbed leather. I'm also going to make a quick shield and a weapon, just so that we can cover those as well. That way we're covering as many sort of things in one. Let's grab a bone harvester, just a very simple weapon, and let's also get a heater shield. There we go. Let's pop these ingots away. Okay, so imbuing. In order to do imbuing, you just click on the blue little gem in the skills gump, or you can pull the skill out and just have a little grey box. I like to keep it here. You can double click that and that'll open up the imbuing menu. In order to do any kind of imbuing, you need to be near Soulforge. Now I have hidden my Soulforge in the roof. Soulforges will work on any Z level, so you can have them upstairs and you can be downstairs and they still work. I actually have 3 Soulforges all across my forge, just so that I can imbue no matter where I am. And this confuses a lot of people, because obviously there's no Soulforge that you can see, but I do have them, they're just hidden away. Now, the imbuing menu gives us a bunch of options, so let's go through those options. We've got imbue item. This lets us add or modify an item property on an item. Pretty self-explanatory. Re-imbue last repeats the last imbuing attempt. So if we are imbuing something on the shield, for example, and we failed, we can just tap this button and it'll attempt to do it again. Imbue last item auto targets the last imbued item. What this does is it will target the last item that we imbued and just open up the menu again. Unravel item. This will extract the magical ingredients from an item, and it does destroy it. So this is how we would get our core ingredients. The enchanted essence, the magical residue, and relic fragments. All 3 of these are needed to do any kind of imbuing. And they come in sort of tiers. So magical residue is the lowest tier, enchanted essence is sort of middle, and then the relic fragments is sort of the higher end. Depending on the quality of the equipment or item that you unravelled will determine what materials you get. As a general rule, higher quality items will get you the relic fragments, sort of mid-range items will get you the enchanted essence, and low quality, low magical power stuff will get you the magical residue. So let's have a look at what we can do on this tunic. Well, we've got 4 options on this side, and we've got 2 options on this side. So the categories: casting, sort of things you'd expect to see for casting, LRC and LMC. Miscellaneous, reflect physical damage, night sight and luck. The resists, this lets us dictate what resistances are. So for example, this tunic has 9 physical resists. So if we go into physical resist, we can set the value between 3 and 17. Now you'll also see a few other things here. The property that we're doing, the property it's replacing, the weight and the intensity. What all these mean is, the intensity, you can see as we go up and down on the value, this just relates to how powerful the imbue is. As we change it, the material cost is going to change. So you can see it goes up and down depending on how intense. The more intense and the more powerful an imbue is going to be, the more items that it's either going to need or it's going to ask for additional items. So in this case, if we wanted to do a max level, so which is 17 physical resist imbue, it's going to ask for 10 bore of health as well. The results screen, this is basically telling us what the result is going to be. This is going to be property number 1 of 5. The total property weight is going to be 100 of 500. So this tunic has a total property weight of 500. By imbuing 17 physical resist, it's going to take up 100 points of that 500. The number of times this item's been imbued is 0 out of 5, and then it gives us our success chance. We have a 165.5% chance to succeed. The more imbues that you do, and the more powerful the imbues that you've put on an item, the less the success chance is going to be. So if you have a look at some of the previous videos we've done, like the Sampire suit or some of the other deck suits or LRC suits, you'll see that the success chances have not always been 100%, and in some cases we've failed. And this is basically telling us what our success chance is. Finally, we've got stats. We've got stamina increase, hit point regen, stamina regen. This is basically mana, stamina, and health increase and regens. One thing we can't do with imbuing is we can't imbue the core stats. So we can't do strength, we can't do dexterity, and we can't do intelligence, but what we can do is hit points, stamina, and mana. And that's all we can do when it comes to imbuing armor. Let's have a look at shields. Shields are very limited. There's not a lot that we can do with shields with Reforging. Casting, we've got the caster based stuff, so we've got spell channeling, and we've got faster casting. If we were to imbue spell channeling on an item, it's going to give us a -1 faster casting negative effect. There's no way around this, it's just the way it is with spell channeling. The spell channeling property always comes with a -1 to faster casting. Now, we can counteract that by also imbuing faster casting +1 onto the item. So obviously -1 plus with a +1 means 0, so it cancels out. But this will still take a property slot, even though nothing's going to be displayed. Combat, we've got defense chance increase. Great if you're a warrior and you want to keep yourself protected. We can go up to a maximum of 15%. We're going to need Essence of Singularity to do that. Miscellaneous, we've got reflect physical damage, lower requirements, durability. Lower requirements is, as you'd expect, just lowers the strength requirement of the item. And durability, well, that increases the durability based on a percentage value. You can go all the way up to 100%, which would essentially give you double durability if you wanted to use powdered iron. That's all we've got for shields. Let's have a look at weapons. For weapons, we've got a lot more. Casting, we've got all the usual caster stuff. This time we've got mage weapon as well. So you can have up from -29 all the way to -20. So if you needed a mage weapon and you wanted to dictate what properties are on there, then this is absolutely a way you can go. Now, one thing you'll have noticed here on the weapon, straight away it's saying that this is property number 2 out of 5. Well, that's because when you craft an exceptional weapon, you always end up with damage increase. Now, you can remove the damage increase using a whetstone of everation, or whatever they're called. And in order to get one of those, you need to defeat the bosses in shame on the 3 levels. You need to get the quartz elemental, the fire elemental, and the air elemental. Each one of those is going to drop a special item. Quartz elemental will drop the quartz dust. The fire elemental will drop the what's it called? There we go, the corrosive ash, and then the air elemental will drop the cursed oil stone. You need all three of those. When you have all three in your inventory, just double click it and it'll create your whetstone. When you use that whetstone on a weapon, it'll remove the damage increase, and it will also free up a mod on the imbuing side as well. Combat section, everything you'd expect to see for combat. Damage increase, swing speed, hit chance, defense chance, use burst weapon skill. We've got nice selection of choices. Swing speed, we can go up to 30%, which is really nice. Defense chance, if you need a defense chance on a weapon, you can go up to 15% there as well. Hit chance, 15%. And damage increase, you can go up to a maximum of 50%. Use burst weapon skill is, as you'd expect, that allows you to use a weapon with any weapon skill. So you could be mace fighting, you'd be able to use a bone harvester if you wanted to. Hit area effects. This is the hit AoE sort of spell weapon effects. So if you have these on your weapon, say for example we put poison, hit poison area on this, this would be a percentage chance to hit all targets in an area with poison damage. These sort of things are fantastic if you're needing a weapon that's good for area effect. So say a champ spawn, or maybe you're just killing a lot of monsters in an area and it's densely packed. Combining this with an AoE weapon, like a whirlwind weapon, is a fantastic choice. Lets you dish out quite a lot of damage, and because we can choose the element, you can pair this up to the creature's weakness. Hit effects, we've got a nice list of all the different effects that we can apply. Some of the notable ones like mana leech, hit lower defense, hit lightning, hit life leech. We can do all these. Now, things to note, the leeches, like the stamina leech, mana leech and life leech, depending on the weapon speed, will dictate how much leech you can apply to that weapon. So with this bone harvester, we can go to a maximum of 75% on the mana leech. We're going to need 10 void orbs to do that, and here you can see just how much property weight that's going to take. So obviously, because the weapon's got a maximum of 500 property weight, we're going to have to balance all of the different mods together. Sometimes it's just not possible to fit everything on there, and you've got to sacrifice something or lower something in order to get the rest of the things on there. We've got a nice choice of different properties that we can choose from here. Miscellaneous, we've just got luck in there, so we can apply up to 100 luck, which is great if you wanted to make a luck based weapon. Resistances, we can apply resistances to a weapon if you needed them on there. That's always an option. And then finally, we've got slayers. We've got two different types of slayers. We've got super slayer and we've got regular slayer. Now super slayer, we've got things like silver, reptile, repond, fey, elemental, demon and arachnid. Now those are groups of monsters. So anything within that sort of group would be affected by a weapon that has that slayer type. Arachnid slayer, for example, will affect bugs and insects, so spiders, well, all the different spider types it'll affect. I think it also affects the stuff, the antlions and all that sort of stuff. Reptile's an easy one because that's, you know, dragons, lizards, crocodiles, anything that's a reptile basically. These will all do a significant amount of damage extra to those types. Slayers are different. These are specific slayers. So you've got things like Spider Slayer, and this will only work against spiders. Dragon Slayer, so this will only work against dragons. Scorpion Slayer only works against scorpions. Why would it be an idea to have, I don't know, a Dragon Slayer over a Reptile Slayer? Well, a Dragon Slayer, a specific Dragon Slayer, will deal triple damage versus dragons. Now it also says, beware, this item property will make you more vulnerable to damage from arachnids. So keep that in mind when you're wearing a Slayer. But if we look at Super Slayers, Reptile, it inflicts double damage versus reptiles. So a Super Slayer is going to deal double damage, and a single Slayer is going to deal triple damage against dragons. So that's why you would pick a Dragon Slayer over a Reptile Slayer. But the caveat to that would be, a Reptile Slayer is a lot cheaper to make, because the lava serpent crusts are a lot easier to obtain, whereas the white pearls needed for this are going to be much more expensive and a bit harder to obtain. So that's all the different slayers that we can do. Now, having the super slayers there as well, that makes it great, because you can set up you can create a set of weapons to tackle each of the champ spawns. So for example, you could go with a reptile slayer for the cold blood, and that would be perfect against everything right up until the very end. And then when the dragon at the end pops, you can switch over to your dragon slayer and deal triple damage against that champion. Very effective way of doing champ spawns for melee characters and range characters as well, because all these can be applied to bows as well. So that essentially covers how imbuing works. There's a lot we can do, and we can create some very good gear. We can create some very powerful weapons. But let's say, for example, we wanted to do something a bit more. Well, this is where Reforging would come in. So I'll clear up my inventory, and then we'll take a look at Reforging.